Good morning, Realty. Our topic this morning, Sam Cachola is with us. We're going to talk about the real estate market. We're going to talk about homes for heroes. Lots of things to discuss in the next hour. Sam, it's good to have you here. Thanks for coming in.
Ted, thanks for having us. We're really excited to be here today.
Before we get going, let's talk a little bit about you and how long you've been involved with real estate. How'd you get involved in this?
Actually, I got involved with it back in 1998, and sad to say, I didn't have a good experience. And I said, okay, never again. I'm going to set out and learn how to do this myself and help other people do it. And from there, it's just grown into several years to today being in front of you.
That's interesting that you had a bad experience buying a home, and instead of just saying, I don't want to even do this again, and I hope I don't have to. In fact, you're one of the people, the guy who said, I liked it so much I bought the company. You decided to get into the business.
Yes, sir. And I got to tell you, I think it has a lot to do with being a Marine. If it's broke, fix it. Make it better and make sure it doesn't happen to other people. So I'd seen, and I wasn't the only one. A couple of my friends had gotten wrapped up in things they shouldn't have, and I just saw the opportunity to make it better, and in doing that, make it profitable, I guess.
Well, as we go on this morning, it'll be interesting maybe to talk with you some about some of the things that you experienced and that you wanted to make sure others don't go through. We'll discuss it as we go on through. And I guess you've seen both the good times and the bad times in the real estate market around here.
Absolutely. I mean, there's 1998, sleepy market, things take off, everything's going crazy. Folks are trying to take advantage of it. A lot of good advice, a lot of bad advice ends up in the market falling out and everybody paying the price. And now we're back in the upswing. I think with a greater emphasis on the education piece, more responsibility on the part of the industry, more responsibility on the part of the client, and you're seeing folks taking more of an advisory role and sitting down with folks and saying, hey, not how do you buy a house, but at least our philosophy at Reality Realty Virginia Heroes is, why are you doing this? What are you trying to accomplish by spending $750,000, $500,000, $250,000? What is your goal? Plugging into that family's epicenter where they want to be in the next 3 to 5, 5 to 10, and helping them achieve that.
And I guess if that had been, if everyone had that advice and had been thinking that way in 2006, 7, maybe at 2008, we wouldn't have seen what happened.
Absolutely. I mean, the media, can be good and bad, and it got everybody whipped into a frenzy. I think it set an expectation in terms of return and got away from the root reason you buy a home, and that's to achieve your family's goals.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a return to that type of philosophy, and that's what we train everybody to focus on at my company, Reality Realty Virginia Heroes.
What's the market doing these days? What are things? Are we coming out of it?
I tell you, it's good times. I'm not an economist. I'll tell you, locally, we've got a highly transient population. People are coming and going, so they have to sell. People are coming in, they have to buy. The rates remain low, inventory's low, so we're seeing a very competitive market right now with multiple offers and bidding situations. So, I mean, right now it seems that it's healthy. I just, my heart of hearts is I hope we can sustain it.
And with interest rates continue to amaze that they continue to be as low as they are.
It's amazing. I mean, it's literally like taking a time machine back financially to prior to 1998 when I showed up here.
Yeah.
So it is absolutely a great opportunity for folks. But one of the things that we preach is, just because something's on sale is, do you need it? And we really try and hammer down on people's life goals and their expectations of this home buying experience and make sure it's in line. Just because you can save $1, but it might ultimately cost you 20 in the back end, it's not the reason to do it.
Sam Cachola with us from Reality Realty this morning in Stafford on Town Talk and NewsTalk 1230 WFVA. One of the topics that we're going to talk much about in this hour is the Homes for Heroes program. What is that? Talk about that.
First off, I'll just say before I get into it, I'm thrilled to be a part of the program. For years, I personally was taking a level of education and support to my military friends. I've got a law enforcement background. My wife's a nurse, so I think in general we were helping out that population. I'd sat down at my desk I was going to build a company around that philosophy, did the due diligence, and up pops Homes for Heroes, right? So it already existed. So once I got done being upset, I got on the phone with them. I had an opportunity to talk to the owner and founder of the program, Ruth Johnson, and she explained to me what she was doing. And she had started it back in 2001, right in response to September 11th. So we had an amazing conversation. For me, it was, kind of a kindred spirit with her. She was already doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I had a decision to make at that point. Do I try and do something similar and compete, or do I go forward and plug into the program that already existed? And frankly, it was an easy decision because I never wanted to own an idea. I wanted to reach the masses, and she'd already done that. So we had a great discussion. We joined forces. I bought the territory out here in Northern Virginia, and we have just commenced to marketing it for the last 3 to 5 years. And I mean, we've helped hundreds of people save thousands of dollars. And I think we're more proud of the fact that we've turned people away from buying a home. These folks who go out there every day and risk their lives for us, those military guys or firefighters, law enforcement, the nurses, the teachers, EMTs, clergy, those types of folks, they have a huge responsibility. And if they take on that financial burden, it lessens their ability to be good at what they do. So we wanted to help get them focused and be a part of a positive decision for them.
So let's talk about the program. How does it work?
Well, the cornerstone of the program, and for us, is really education. I sit down with every single client for an hour, make sure that they're clear on what they're doing, make sure I have an opportunity to be clear on what their goals are. We alert them to the pros, the cons, the pitfalls, and we start to emphasize the long-term commitment to owning a home. In the Marine Corps, they have a saying. They say amateurs talk tactics and professionals talk logistics. Well, at Reality Realty Professionals, we're really focused on the logistics and the long-term care and feeding of not only this investment but their family, and we make sure they are too. And once we come to terms with that, they're able to make a decision rooted in fact. And the fact is, should I buy or should I not? Most do, some don't. The ones who don't thank us profusely. The ones who do, we support. We're not only protecting them in the normal real estate process, but also through putting our money where our mouth is. We donate 25% of our commission to help with their closing costs or down payment or any fees associated with it that we can legally credit, on the HUD-1. From there, our vendors pitch in, our lenders, generally they pay most of the closing costs, if not all. Between our contribution, the seller's contribution, and the lenders, we get our heroes in there smartly, no money out of pocket, and ready to tackle, that long-term logistical sustainment plan that we've hammered out up front.
Wow, what a program! Any stories that come to mind that are just really heartwarming to you, that excite you?
Oh wow, there's so many. I think that's one of the reasons it doesn't even seem like work. We call it profit with a purpose.
Yeah.
And that purpose is to support these guys. If I can tell you, one of them was one of our clients who's actually published in an article on Military Times. His name was Chad Yancey. Guy was 100% disabled, was transitioning out of the Marine Corps, was trying to buy a home. He went to a traditional real estate firm in a traditional bank. He was literally 10 points away from qualifying to buy a home. He had to be out of base housing in a certain time frame. He had to get a new job. His wife is pregnant. The story goes on and on and on. Mm-hmm. So he has all these issues, and the folks he was dealing with said, "Oh, well, we can't help you." He was pretty knee deep in the process. So he frantically gets our name somehow, some way from a referral, which is 90% of how we get our business. And he called us up, and we immediately did triage. Where are you at in the process? What's the situation? We pulled in the team. We got the realtors, we got the lenders, we got the title companies, we got everyone involved that are going to have to execute this, and began to solve this problem. My lender, luckily, was able to solve the credit issue. Oh, sorry, let me back up. The first lender couldn't do it. And just as a testimony to the humility on the team, he referred it out to another friend who said, hey, he probably can do it. So within record time, turn over the file. Long story short, the guy went from being turned down to being turned around to being able to get his life in order, okay, and settle on his home on time and meet all of his deadlines with getting out of base housing and this transition, okay? You know, keep in mind here, wife, medical appointments, transitioning with the VA, a ton of stressors, and we were able to take that off of his plate and get him where he needed to be. And to turn your back on somebody for 10 points and that burn and churn mentality because it was just too hard, that really upset us. And that's why for me, we're really taking more of a boutique approach to where we can sit down, tackle the hard ones, tackle the easy ones, everything in between, but literally focus on the client and what they're trying to do, and you know, stay true to that whole profit with a purpose. What can we do to help these folks? And he ended up actually going on. He's in the process of getting his real estate license now. He started his own business, and he wants to come work with us and kind of do what we did. So it's a great feeling to see it go full circle and see this guy actually be able to get on with his life. I mean, 100% disabled, and no one wanted to help him. It was pretty ridiculous.
He's like you, in reverse. He had a good experience, and so he said, I want to do more of this.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you're either the example of what not to be or what to be, right? So it's a little bit of yin and yang, and we're just glad to be on the other side of that equation.
Sam Cachola here with Realty in Stafford. We are talking about the Homes for Heroes program and Realty in general this morning on Town Talk. More coming up on NewsTalk 1230 WFVA.